the stand, or you can start there.
Okay, hi guys. So originally, I the plan was for me to do like a landing page design. So just like to take you through more or less my design process and just show you how I would approach a design. But I will not be able to do that today, or well, I will not be able to complete that today. I will do like this the things I lead up to doing the actual design, but then I wouldn't do the design if that makes sense. So 1 second, let me share my screen. Um yeah. Coming. Oh Bethel, I can't share my screen. You say screen sharing has been turned off. Okay, 1 second. Okay, yeah, I can. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? It's not board, right?
Yes.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. So today we're more or less going to look at how to design functional interfaces. In my last class, I spoke a lot about the usability heuristics and how they contribute to making an interface both beautiful and functional. Like just the general theme of my last class was while your UI should look beautiful, it should also be functional. You should not replace functionality for good aesthetics, right? So I'm just going to try and apply that now. I did some of this while I was preparing. I'm not fully done, but I would just like start from where I left off. This is supposed to be a logo for the website that I was going to design. My friend Daniel and I designed this. We're thinking of making it an actual startup because this logo is so fine and it cannot waste. But yeah, so I'm going to start with mood boards. And I basically prepared for this class with my friend Daniel Bayami. So like I'll be making a lot of references to him and things that we said while we were preparing for this. So sorry, 1 second, let me just hide that. Yeah. So mood board. To start, like the website that I was going to design was a food. Sorry, just to confirm, can you guys hear me very well? I'm not like really close to this.
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you. Um, So the website that we were going to design was a food website or an ice cream store, a website for an ice cream store. So to start off, when we were looking for inspiration, like to fill with our mood board with, we went on Dribble. There are different websites that you can go for inspiration. You could go for on Dribble if it's websites. You can go on Lapan Ninja. You could go on Landbook. I would just like compile all these things. I have a whole bookmark full of them, so I could compile them and just send them in the chat later. But we got these websites from Dribble, and what we did was search for food websites because like that's what it is that we were trying to design. So it's like first of all, when you're compiling your mood board, you would, and this is not a law, but like I said, I'm just going to speak on my process and Daniel Abayami's process. Like you search for the exact product type. So like the industry that you're designing for. So this is an ice cream store in the food industry. So you search for food websites just to see like how they are done and understanding the standards and consistencies and whatnot. So we just got like a couple of food related websites just to see like what's common among them. And then after doing that, like the next thing we went, usually my mood board would actually contain a lot more than this. And I usually section my mood board depending on the sections, but I couldn't do that here. But next up, we now started looking for layout inspiration from other industries, like industries that are not related to the food, right? Um, and the reason for this is like what Daniel would say is don't limit your thinking to like, okay, I'm designing a food website. Let me go and dribble all these websites and search for food websites. And it's like you're more or less like designing the exact same thing that has already exists. While yeah, we have all that so that we can get like the standards in terms of colors and themes and typography and layout. Like you could also get inspiration from other places that are not food related. Like for instance, if we're since we're having an ice cream, um, since we're doing an ice cream store design, the idea for this, the reason why this is in the mood board is like, okay, we could have like ice cream here, like in these images, or something similar like that, or people taking ice cream, like people licking ice cream with their friends or whatever. Yeah, just I hope that makes sense. Like just have a section for of your mood board for the industry that you're designing for, and you can have another section like fintech, health related, whatever layouts you see and you think you can sort of implement in your design. Well, obviously make it yours, but yeah. So that's like the mood board part. Then next up, you prepare your page layouts. So you try to like determine the user journey. You don't just jump on, I think I said this a lot in my last class, you don't just jump in Figma and design straight up. You have to actually identify what it is that you need to do. So I guess you'd set a quick persona like after the mood board. This is something that Daniel Abami like made a mention of. And he said that like when you're trying to set these personas, like personas are more or less the people that you're designing for. When you're trying to set these personas, don't think digital really. Like think offline. You're designing for an ice cream store. So like who is the target audience of the ice cream store that you're designing for? Like you have to think about those details. Like who are they? Who are the people that they're targeting? What do they like to do? Like what are the problems that they face offline and how can those problems be solved offline? And then you have to find a way to just digitalize that, if that makes sense. So like technology just amplifies the solution. That's what Daniel Abayami like likes to say. So you think about the scenarios offline and then find a way to implement them in your online what's the word? Online, I don't say implementation again, but yeah, online implementation of what it is that you're designing. So 1 second. Yeah, I was talking about setting quick personas. So like who are the people that you're trying to design for? Like for one, think about it. What are the reasons that people go to ice cream stores? Some people go like the obvious reasons would be like, okay, someone goes to the ice cream store to obviously get ice cream. Like the person could be a huge fan of ice cream and just wants to like try out different flavors of ice cream and whatnot. Like the person is going there solely for the ice cream, right? So you would have to consider that in your design. You have to like focus on the ice cream and the different flavors and how and why the ice cream tastes nice and all of that. And then there could be a different type of person who isn't necessarily going for the ice cream. Like the ice cream is a reason why they're going, but then it's like maybe 40% or 30% of why they're going. And the remaining 70% is like, okay, I want a place where I can take nice Instagram pictures. Like, you know, the people who literally go from restaurant to restaurant just to, like they eat, right? But then they have like an entire Instagram account for posting pictures of themselves at different places, right? So there could be that reason. That could be a reason why people visit ice cream stores. So they will run somewhere that has a good atmosphere, has like Instagrammable spots, like they could take pictures and probably like nice ice cream colors that, you know, would add to their pictures and whatnot. So these are the things that you consider. You just set those quick personas. You do like draw up a persona. I'm not going to go into details about how to do that. I don't know. I choose to believe that Dumi would have somehow touched personas in her talk on UX. But yeah, since we're focusing on you, I would just not go into that. So after you do that, you now like try to draw up your user journey, like what the journey of the website should be like. So typical websites will start with the navigation, you know, like where you have the I know that I'm not like doing anything in Figma right now. I would eventually get into that, but I just want to like clear some of these things up. It starts with the navigation where, you know, like home, about us, all of that. And then, okay, next we'll have the hero section, which we call like the value proposition section. So that section is supposed to be like, you know, if you open, let's say, a website like Paystack or Carrywise or any website really, the first thing you see is like a block of text. Like you have the header text in bold, and then you have like what's the word? You have coming. I did something here, just like to explain. So like something like this, right? You have the header text. This is for Paystack, and you have the descriptive text under. This is more or less like an entire summary of what Paystack has to offer. So in those first two lines, you have to, like, the potential customer should have a basic understanding of what your business has to offer them. This is usually the work of a copywriter, like if you have one to work with. But yeah, so in that section, you just like summarize everything about your business in a couple of lines in a way that will interest the target audience. So yeah, the hero section, but that's why it's called value proposition section. And then next up, we can talk about like the flavors and price. Hold on, let me come back to this. Like you see these guys, like next up, what they did was just like our product. So this solves for the person who is literally coming online or coming to the website to see the different flavors that of ice cream that they can get. So you just like put that there to keep them interested. Then next up, you can have like a video of maybe people in the store having fun, licking ice cream, taking pictures, or you could just have like a strip of images. And this like speaks directly to the people who are coming here because they coming to the website because they want to see the kind of atmosphere that the store has. Is it an Instagrammable spot? Is it a spot with good vibes, or is it like a serious space that they can't really go to take pictures? So that just like addresses their need. Then you can put a testimonial section where it's like people just giving good reviews about the ice cream and the atmosphere and all of that, just to like further convince people that they should come there. So let's just assume that this restaurant does not deliver ice cream, and you have to actually walk into the store to get the ice cream that you want. You have to do everything that you can on the website to make them want to come in, because they're literally going to have to leave the comfort of their home to go out, right? So you have to be as convincing as possible. So like that's why I mentioned the testimonials thing. So like people can just talk about how, or when they went there, they got the best of service and the ice cream tastes so good and the place is so lovely to take pictures at. All of those would just spur the potential customer into wanting to go to the store. And then, yeah, that's more or less it. Like just, that was just me giving an example of setting the user journey. Like, okay, what are the different sections going to be? Why do I have these different sections? Like these are things that you have to think through. You don't just go and like put anything there because like you just saw it on another website or you saw it on Dribble. You have to actually think through the entire process of what you're trying to achieve with each section and like how the design will work in those areas. And then, okay, now to like actually try and practicalize these things. I'll soon get to like what I have here. Next up, like let's say you are working on the design. Hold on. Selecting my artboard. Okay. So grids. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, okay, so like now I'm just going to show you like the typical grid that I use for my website design. It depends, like it's not a strict rule. You can use different grids on different designs. Grids are just basically there to make sure that your content isn't messy and all over the place. They're like guidelines for you. They're guidelines for you and for you alone. So let me just give an example. Creating a grid. You guys can still see my screen, right? Like just to be sure. First, can you? Okay, great. So creating a grid, using Figma. Come here, click layer grid. I'm just going to assume that there's some people who haven't used Figma before or are new to Figma. That's why I'm like just being very detailed like that. And then I would go to columns. And the typical grid for desktop is a 12-column grid. That's what most people use. So yeah. And then personally, I'll set my margin depending on how I feel at the time or how much space I feel like I need. But yeah, I usually use a 120 margin. So like, let me get the logo that we were supposed to use. So that means that my logo will typically start here. The size is not necessarily correct, but like it's a start here and everything. Okay, let me just get this text as well. Just 1 second. everything like that I use would start here. So it's not like, oh, it's going to start here or it's going to start here. Like it's consistently starting here. Even though there are times you can break out of the grid, but then you have to actually understand how to use a grid before you can decide to break out of it. So my margin is 120. You see, like it's here. Everything is going to start from here. Then next up, like gutters, I use 24. But again, like this is not a set rule. You can just create your own grid. There's also a website that has grid. What's the name? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, yes, I'm about to post the link inside the chat. 1 second. Yeah, I just posted the link in the chat. Like you can find different grids for different platforms. So you have desktop, you have iOS, you have Android. You could check it out there as well. Yeah. So that is more or less how I create my grid. 1 second, something is missing. Yeah. Okay, so next up, choosing colors. Like I said, the colors that we would use for the UI would obviously be from here because like these are the logo colors. But then when Daniel and I were creating this thing, we just basically looked at ice creams. We got pictures of ice creams from Pinterest. Let me see if we can find, yeah. We got pictures of ice cream from Pinterest and just like more or less picked colors from that. And voila. So this is like strawberry. This is some weird color. I don't know what flavor of ice cream this would be. This is whatever the flavor of ice cream this is, and this is the code. It's just to like represent the colorful nature of ice cream. Yeah, sorry, where was I? So this is a mini style guide that I created from the colors that we use for the logo. So I'm just going to like walk you through how I came up with the different shades because I've had people ask questions about how to create shades for colors. Let me just remove all this. How do I come up with? Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So this is like the main neutral color. So like instead of using pure black, this would be the shade of gray in quotes that I would be using. And to get like lighter shades like this, for what I did here was I didn't actually use the normal method I normally use. I went to the color picker tool and I just like went a shade higher. So like I didn't want it to be blue. So like as I'm going higher, it's just getting blue and blue. So I just like took it to the gray, reduced the saturation, took it to the grayer side and increased the brightness as I went along. So hold on, let me check the hue here. Okay, 205. So sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Sorry. So like I have this here, right? And this is a shade lighter than this. Then for the next one, all I did was just like take from this and increase the lightness. So the different, I don't know what to call these, but different ways that you can view colors in any software, but like this is Figma. So you can view like the hex codes, you could view RGBG, you could view RGB, sorry. You can view all this. I use HSL, which is hue, saturation, and lightness. It makes my workflow easier, but then you just have to figure out what works for you. So what I did here was just increase the lightness to, let's say, 45. So this is a lighter shade than this. And then for the next one, just take from there, increase to maybe like 57 and just like went on like that. That's more or less how I created this. Then for these ones, I have a plugin actually, which is what I normally use. But the only reason why I didn't use the plugin for this was because like it was very blue. Like I said, I had to go to the gray section so that it's not like, oh, I'm using blue as a neutral color. So let me just take this out and show you how to use the plugin. 1 second. Okay. So the name of the plugin is Color Designer. Yeah, this is one I use. I've tried a couple and they were not what exactly I needed. So this was the one I eventually settled on. It's okay. Sometimes it doesn't work and I have to create the palettes by myself, but it works a lot of the time. So like I would recommend it. So what you do is you select the color that you are looking for and then like you hold on. Can you still see my screen? Just to be sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, click plugin, go to color designer, and then based on the color that you've picked, it will select like it will bring out different tints or shades for you. So tints are like lighter shades of lighter shades of the color that you've picked, and shades are darker shades. So depending on what it is that you need, you just pick tints or shades. So I needed lighter shades for this. What I was thinking was like I would use them for the background color of the website. Background. So instead of like an entirely white, hold on. Instead of like something entirely white, like what these guys did here, I would do something that has different colors. What example can I give? Okay, so like this. This starts off white and it goes blue. This is gray, has a white section, has a gray section. But what I had in mind was, hold on. Yeah, what I had in mind was just like interchanging colors. So like I would have a really light shade of pink in one section, have a really light shade of this blue in one section, and so on. So like I said, I reduced this to 5. This determines how many shades or tints that they give you. So because like I don't need that many, I reduced this to 5. And all you have to do is like select the rectangle that you want to change the color of, and you click the plus here, copy the color. It's a very stressful process. I think they should let you just be able to change the color without having to come here and type the code. But I mean, that's what we had to do or have to do till they update. So select the next color, copy the color, select the rectangle you want to change the color of, and all of that. I'm not going to do it for everything because that'll be very like tasking, but that's more or less what I did. Um, yeah. Then when you want to choose another color, instead of like coming out of the plugin again, or 1 second, all you have to do is select the color that you want to do and click load selection, and to bring this up and bring the different tints or shades for you. You do the same for this, do the same for this. Yeah, that's how I generated these shades. And then one thing that I do in my color like style guides, this is not a complete style guide, but then I would just like recommend it for like everyone. I've seen people who create style guides and they didn't put like the hex codes of the colors that they've put. And I feel like it's easier to do this because not having hex codes at all, like what I have here, I'm looking at this and I'm honestly confused, right? Like you'd have to come all the way here and copy the hex code for whatever it is that you might need it for. Just like so your style guide is extremely detailed, especially if you're going to design an entire design system for an organization where you might leave in future and another designer takes over from you, or where other people just want to be able to look at the design system and understand what's going on without having to like think too hard about it. You just like put a name if you can and the actual hex code of the colors. So that's just like a tip. And then for the buttons, I like I made this my primary color because like it's a really cute color. I'm not a pink fan, but then this is like a really cute shade of pink. So made it the primary color, created like a fill button, and then for typography, hold on, I'm trying to decide what to do next. Okay, yeah, let me just go to typography, then I'll do the next one after that. So for typography, I selected this font Caros. So when you're selecting fonts for a UI design or typography for UI design, I feel like I mentioned it in the last class. Did I? I'm not sure, but just in case I didn't, I'll just go over it again. I said that the font that you choose for a project is highly dependent on what that project is. So the font that you would use for a fintech project might vary for what you, not even might, will vary for what you would use for like a children application. So you don't just pick a random font before you even know what it is that you're designing for. The font that you choose is dependent on what it is that you're designing for. So if you want like an elegant, this what I'm about to say, I got it from this refactoring UI book, basically like the UI designer Bible. It said that if you want an elegant or classic look, you might want to incorporate a serif typeface. So let me just like give an example of what a serif typeface is. This is a serif typeface. Yeah, like this is a sans serif and this is a serif typeface. So I mean, you can see the difference with all these edges, and I don't know what they're called. I feel very ashamed because I feel like I should know the names as a designer, but I'm sorry, I do not. I will not pretend that I do. But yeah, if you
Self.
want an elegant or classic look,
Self.
what?
Self.
No, I don't mean like serif. I mean like what these things are called. They're not ends, but whatever. And
Yeah,
yes,
they are called serifs. They're actually called serifs.
seriously,
Sorry, please. For the typography,
yeah, okay. So if you want an elegant or classic look, you would want to incorporate like a serif typeface, like maybe a hotel that has been in the business for a very long time and like does excellent service and whatnot. You could use a serif typeface for that. If you want a playful look, you can use a rounded sans serif like Poppins. I can't believe I just said that word, but yeah. Let me just do Poppins. Yeah, like every designer's favorite font for whatever reason. I mean, it's a really cute font, but yeah. Which is actually very similar to this Karos, but yeah, a rounded type of serif. And if you want a plainer look, you could just use like a neutral sans serif. Sorry, rounded type of sans serif. And if you want a neutral look, you just use a plain type of sans serif. I'm not sure. Yeah. Does Montreal count as a plain type or a neutral sans serif? Anyway, that's just basically like thinking about how fonts affect, or how the what you're designing for affects your design. So next up, like this is a rounded sans serif, and because it's like an ice cream store, we want an entire playful vibe. That's the vibe that we're trying to give off to the potential customers. Like, okay, this is the place that you could come and take pictures and have fun. There are no rules. It's like just come and be free, be you, come as you are. So that's the vibe that we're trying to give off with this font. Like, so you see that it's not just like, oh, you just pick a random font that looks nice. You actually think about what this font will portray to the people that you're designing for. So next up, I created a type scale. Well, I didn't create this from scratch because I created it for a previous project. And I just like basically lifted it and made changes. So how do I start to explain this? This is basically thinking of all the different font sizes and weights that you will use in a project and just like putting them out there or just putting them on ground. So okay, I haven't actually finished with this, but this is basically what my scale would look like. So 14, 16, I got this from refactoring UI, so I didn't create it from scratch. It's like the what's the word? It's the I can't think of what the word is. But when in doubt, to go with this scale. That's more or less what it is that I'm trying to say. Like if it's like, oh, you can't think of, oh, what should I use? You could just go with what they have in refactoring UI. You cannot go wrong with that. So this is what that is. So we have 14, we have 16, 18, 20, all of that. You can increase as well, like if you want your biggest font size to be like 64. So that would be more or less what is on this section. This is currently what's 56. You could make it 64 if you want. And yeah. So you just like know what each font size is going to be used for, decide what your major body text is going to be. So here, what do I have here? This is 18. So I more or less decided that, okay, my main body text is going to be 18 px. And then everything else is like, if I need smaller text for whatever reason and all. Like I said, this type field is not complete. A lot of these are not meant to actually be here, but just so you understand. Okay, so just again, I approach this like I would a design system, because like I said, in a design system, you're not just designing it for yourself, you're designing it for the entire organization and for any designer that takes over after you. So you have like the different variations of your the typography or the type family that you've used or decided to use. So we have full light, we have regular, we have medium, we have bold, depending, like you know the use cases that these are going to be used in. The design system that I copied this from, all of them are used in different scenarios, so that's why we have all of them. In some situations you might not need light, you might not need medium, you might just need regular or bold, or you might just need regular medium. It just depends on what it is you're designing for, so don't take this as a law. So what I'm going to do next is teach you how to make styles in Figma, because they would just basically ease your design process a lot. So like we've done all this, we've more or less created a style guide, we have a typography, we have colors. I don't need this anymore. Yeah, we have the typography and we have the colors. I'm just switch this around. Yeah, so to create styles in Figma, if you don't know, you select the color that you are trying to create a style of, and you click this square thing, these four square things, whatever, and create a style. So you name your style. Like I've named mine already, neutral 1 to neutral, I think 8 or so. So just neutral. And then you put a slash. I would explain why in a bit. You put a slash and then you put like maybe 1. This is how I do it. Like it's not a law, but this is how I do it. Put a slash and put 1. So like that has created a style, and it's turned this, like before we had the hex code, now we have like the style and then this neutral and the style under it. So next up we create this neutral /2. I'm just going to copy this so I don't have to type it all the time. Neutral /2, and we see this comes up to the slash. Like you just do neutral 3. It creates entirely new. It doesn't show. Okay, let me just like do this, right? And let me get from here and just put orange 4 and do this till 5 or whatever. Yeah. So like you wouldn't be able to identify what category they fall under. I mean, you might not need it, but personally I do. That's why like I do the slash. So it's like, okay, this is neutral and these are the different shades of neutral. So we have, okay, I've done neutral. No, let me just edit this. Come here. Yeah. And like you see neutral 1, neutral 2, neutral 3, like they're all there. You do neutral 4. And it just goes on and on like that. You can just like see that these are all the colors and shades under neutral. Then we can go, so we have, well, let's call it strawberry 1, and then it creates one for strawberry 2, strawberry 5, and like you have that, right? See, let me just delete these. I feel like I've already proven my point with them. Okay, so strawberry neutral, like it just helps keep your design system, your styles in Figma very organized, and like you don't have to stress looking for anything. So you do the same for all the different colors. You do blue 1 and you do orange 1. All of that, like you just go all through. It doesn't have to be 1, like I said, however you choose to name it is up to you, but then the slash is like extremely important because that's what categorizes it. So under this, hold on, what can I use? Okay, let me use this. Okay, let me like do what I wanted to do in the typography. So you basically do the same thing for typography. You come here, you set all your settings, like okay, you've decided what line height you want, you decided like your font size, the font variation. You select this and you do, how do I usually name this thing? I forgot it now. Okay, but okay, so let's assume, just like for the sake of explaining how styles work, let's assume that you have a different typeface. So you use one for heading text and you use one for body text, just like so I can show you how this works. So let's just say we're using PT serif for a heading text. Yeah, also like in your, like I said, your style guide should be extremely detailed so that it's like you are not confused and the people who look at it are also not confused. So name them. Don't just put like the oh okay, body text and you put the scale. Like what is the text that you're using? Like put the names of the fonts, yeah, more or less. Let me change these to PT serif. Okay, so we have that. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. So we have that. Now, when I'm going to create a style for this, I'm going to like PT serif slash 16px. This is like slash light slash 16px. So we have this PT serif light. Here we have PT serif, and we have another folder under it light, and then we have the 16px under it. So create another one, PT, and also like I think, hold on, let me just check just to see, just to be sure. PT serif light slash 18px. Okay, yeah. So like when you're naming your what's the word? Your capitalization and punctuation and all that have to be the same. Because see, this was PT serif capital, like both cap locks. This light was like capital letter L, but then here I just did like P and small letter T serif, small letter L light. So it created an entirely new folder for that, which is not what we want. So just go back and do yeah, PT serif light 18px, and it has created one under this. So I'm not going to do for the rest because like you more or less get the point. Let me just create another one entirely for regular. Okay, so change this to, hold on. Okay, no, there's no regular, so like let's just use bold, right? Okay, so PT serif here, PT serif slash bold slash 16px, and then that has created another one entirely, like under PT serif for bold and PT and yeah. So back to the carols. Let's do 1 second. Carols slash light slash 16px, and then that creates another one. I feel like I have already proven how this works, so it just makes your entire design flow easier. So you create like in the actual design now. Okay, well we didn't create a use case for this, and I didn't create a use case for this either. But you could just come to your style, and you just like pick whatever it is that you have there, and it just keeps things consistent to your design. And like the importance of having a style guide before you actually start the actual design is so you don't design and then you have so many different font sizes, like your font sizes are not consistent. Like, oh, in one place your body text is 18px, on another page your body text is 12px, on another page your body, or on the same page in a different section your body text is like 24px. Like all this is just to keep your design is to keep your design consistent, and again like to also help the other people that may eventually take over from you or may just want to like see how the design system works for whatever other reason. So yeah, this is like how it works. It just helps, it speeds up your design flow. If you want to change the color, you could also come here and just like, okay, I want to use this lighter shade. I don't want to use that. I want to use a darker shade. I want to use a very light shade, depending on what you want to use it for. You don't have to like start. Imagine if you didn't have this. You have to start coming here and you start picking, okay, this is what I want this to look like. And then like you now get like, okay, let's say this is the shade of gray you've chosen to use here, or here, this is the shade of gray you've chosen to use here. And you get to another section entirely in the design. It's like, okay, let me just do this is a random text in a random section, right? Like, and you have the entire, I don't know, heading text and whatever, whatever. Just reduce the size of this something. Another section entirely in the design. And it's like, okay, this is the, I don't know, for whatever reason that this, you don't have this color in it anymore. It's like, okay, you're trying to pick what color, or you can't find the exact place, right? I know like common sense is like, okay, you just come here and copy the hex code, but like, why are you stressing, bro? Why are you stressing? Just come here, pick the color. Like, okay, you know that for everybody text I use, I'm using neutral one. And like, it's just consistent all through the design. So yeah, I have spoken extensively about creating a style guide. Next up, which is more or less like the last thing, is just talking about like hierarchy-ish. I mean, in the next class, when I do the actual design, I'll just be able to touch more and explain more on this. But in this place, what I did here was to like sort of give an example of how this works. Hold on. And it doesn't matter. I'll just copy this into the other file. Okay, change this to Carol's. Okay, so let's say this is the website. I mean, like you guys have already seen this. I've actually just done it from scratch, but yeah, I am. So this is the website, right? And you have this, and you have whatever image in this section as per like, you know how headers usually are. I mean, like, yeah. Okay, let me even make this the same size, or like a really close size. So you have this, like there's no hierarchy, right? But then you have text, like, okay, you could have the value proposition, like, okay, this is the value proposition, modern and online and offline payments for Africa. You have like the right text, but then like this is absolutely plain. Like it doesn't speak at all. It's just, it doesn't, let me open this in preview mode so you can see. It doesn't work. There's no hierarchy, there's no sense of priority, there's no importance, nothing. Like nothing is prioritized at all. It's just like, okay, you have this. Just imagine that there's an image here. Okay, but let me put an image just like my point is very clear. Splash. I mean, it does not relate to what it is that we're talking about per se, because it's not modern and offline payments, but let's just like put it there. Let's just carry a logo. I know all these elements are not related because logo is an ice cream logo, and this is like okay, let me actually use this because I have done, okay, actually let me just use here since I've done the grid on this. So this is 20. Sorry, just give me 1 second so I can just get everything like how it was. This is like, let's say 24 apart from one another. Image here. Let me put my grid back on so like you see how it actually works. So remember, this is like our margin. So this is here, goes to our margin. This stretches, let's say all the way here, and starts like at a gutter. It's just like, yeah, in tune with the grid. Turn my grid off. Okay, so we have this. Come in here. No, sorry, what's that? Okay, let's just like, we have this. I mean, we have the text, we have a picture. We have a fancy blue or purple color, but then this does not speak at all. Like, I don't know, speak is not the word, but this does not work. There's no hierarchy. And it's like, okay, hierarchy, let's like make the text bigger. If we can make it 24 px, it's bigger, but still does not work because like you come on this site and like your eye isn't drawn anywhere. Like you just look at, I don't know if you understand what I mean, but like when I come here and I'm looking at this, like my eyes are everywhere. There's my eyes aren't like led to a particular place, right? This is bigger, but you can't really tell until you look closely. Like this is not, this find the perfect ice cream is in no way differentiated except for this blue text. That's the only thing that stands out about it. It's in no way differentiated from this like under text, right? This image is the only thing that stands out on this page. So like we make this bigger. This is just like this text size is not necessarily what you have to use. Um 1 second. Yeah. And we do this. I'm just bring this down. 24. This is too close. Let's just put this here. Okay. So this is better, right? It's like find the perfect ice cream is like grabbing more attention, but then we can differentiate it even more. So why not just make it bold or make it extra bold? Like, I don't know, depending on what you want or what you think. And yeah, this is like you yourself put hierarchy in this situation. So if you like basically check websites out, that's what the like how it works. I'm just saying this for people who might not be who might just be getting into design and do not understand these principles. I know that there are people on this call who know these things, but like I'm just trying to address it in case there are people who don't that is listening or that are listening right now. Um so yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go into the actual design in this class. That would be for another class where like we actually just design the Scoops and Smiles website. But I think I have more or less covered most of what it is that I wanted to cover before the actual design. Let me check my notes to be sure. Yes, I have. I don't know if this has been educative. I hope it has been. I am more or less done, but I am open to any questions that anyone has. So yeah, that's it. Bethel, I'm done. I beg, I beg. Bethel, I will actually kick you from here. Yeah, yes, please. Yeah, and then for done, you like send to Shay and like kill him. Yes.
Yes.
Who is that? Oh yeah, no.
Okay, thank you so much, Darren, for the class. So I know that a lot of us, like beginners or freelancers, they get to shuffle between UI and UX, and I mean doing both works. So creating this kind of template and still having to work on the UX part, it's a whole lot for someone to do. It's a whole lot for someone to do. So is there anything that I think is not that necessary? I mean, something you think we can all skip as a beginner? I mean, in the professional space, everything is needed. But is there anything you feel like, okay, you don't need to focus on this right now, you need to focus on this, that kind of stuff?
One, I'm actually more UI oriented than UX, but then like because of my current job, I'm definitely going to pick up more UX. So by the end of this year, I would probably be able to say that like I'm a like fully UX, fully UI designer. But what you said, I'm trying to think of what I can say to that. One part of me wants to say that I wouldn't say that, oh, there's something that you may not focus on. So like, okay, for instance, like the things that you're asking about is like just like, I mean, I'm asking this so you can clarify for me. Do you mean like, oh, or maybe you can skip like wireframes, or you can skip what research, or like what do you mean? Give examples of the things that you do that you feel like, okay, can I skip this, or is this necessary, so I can like fully understand.
Okay, like this separation you did, like colors, typography, and all that. Like having to work on bringing out these templates, even trying to help the developer in bringing out everything this way, like separating the colors, having the codes written on that, creating color styles and everything. Like it looks cumbersome before you even start the project itself. Going like that's like a whole work of its own before you
Yeah.
even start the project. So for people who have little or no time, is it that necessary to do? That's all I'm
Um,
asking.
Okay, yes, it is necessary because like it has its advantages, and like you have more to lose by not doing it than you have to lose by doing it, if that makes sense. Like it's, I wouldn't say no, you can skip this, you don't need to do this. You have like I don't know when you say like, oh, you don't have much time. I'm not sure I fully understand. Okay, maybe like you have a short timeline or something. Yeah, I can get that, especially with the way Nigerian clients can be. But it is necessary because like you would thank yourself for it later in future, and the developer will thank you for it. Like you see how a lot of developers have problems with designers, like, and designers have problems with developers. Like each side is very valid. I've spoken to a couple of my developer friends, and they've mentioned a couple of things that I thought were basic things that every designer did, but apparently not every designer does them, and it stresses developers out. And you wouldn't want to be that person that, oh, okay, I've done my own job, like let the developer handle whatever it is that I've given him, right? Like you wouldn't want to be that person. You would want to like treat other people the way you would expect to be treated. And also, like I mentioned, the whole thing about the style guide and separating everything this way is like when another designer comes on board, like if you're working at, like, let's just say Wise, you are the only designer at Wise. This is important, right? Because like you would eventually leave Wise, even like for whatever reason, you would eventually leave, right? And somebody else will take your place. Or even if you don't live and yeah, even if you don't leave and you stay there for the rest of your life, they will still hire another designer, and that other designer should not have a hard time like understanding how everything works just because you have chosen not to do what you should. So it's not only like it helps you in a lot of ways. Like I can say that this, like since I learned how to do this, it has sped up my design process a lot. I haven't even gotten into the main parts of creating a style guide. These are just the basics. It's a lot more. Yes, like I'm not going to lie, it's not cumbersome, right? But then it is beneficial, and like not just to you, but to the other people that are going to like use what it is that you have designed. So no, I will not say that, oh, you can skip this or you don't have to do this. Yes, do all of it. Bethel, you're muted.
Hello, hello, good afternoon. I have a question. Yes, okay. I like to know the difference between a design system and a UI kit.
I was literally about to pass it to you, sis. I'm not going to lie. I'm currently on Google. I'm not, but like I'm not even going to pretend. I'm actually currently on Google, just like confirm what it is that I'm going to say first. So I know that like this is not going to be a detailed response, so you'll probably still have to going to have to check Google as well. But what I know, I think UI kits, it's like you go on UI 8 or all these other platforms that has sorry, hey, English language, God, that have ready-made designs. I mean, that's what I see UI kits as, right? So like have like I do a design of a mobile app and I just put it on the Figma community, I post it on whatever website. Like that is a UI kit. It might come with a style guide, like I've already created a style guide and I put that like there. But you go there, it's a kit of UI elements, more or less, right? But then the design system is tailored to a specific organization. So like I work at Eden Life, so we have an Eden Life design system. My people who are career-wise, they have a career-wise design system. Paystack has a Paystack design system. It's like tailored to the specific organization, mostly, right? I think there are exceptions, but yeah, like tailored to the specific organization. It contains every single thing that you need, and the design system is constantly evolving and constantly being updated. It's not that, oh, you put the design system once and like you don't touch it again. So like since I started working at Eden, we used to use Adobe XD and we migrated to Figma. So I had to migrate the design system from Adobe XD to Figma. So yeah, I put all of that there. And then since we started designing, like there are things that we started using in our designs that we've had to add to the design system. So it's not like, oh, we just have this on one like of the apps and then it's not in the design system. Like you just basically update the design system with what it is that you use as you go along. So some of like maybe before you were using like 16px as your body text, so you didn't have any need for maybe 14px. But then you encounter the scenario where it's like, oh, we actually need 14px and we need that 14px in bold and light. We don't need it in regular. You go to your design system and you update it. So yeah, sorry, to answer the question, design system consists of buttons, it consists of typography, it consists of colors. Those are just the basic things. It consists of your input fields, it consists of drop downs, it consists of your date pickers, your modals, the alerts. Let me see if I can get. Okay, I can't actually share one because the ones that I have are not open for public view, unfortunately. But yeah, it consists of every single thing that would be in your design. It consists of code elements as well. I know that's what generally separates a design system from a style guide, in the sense that like a style guide is mostly for the designer, like when they're designing and all. But then the design system is also for developers. I don't know how developers use it because like I don't know that much about code, but I do know that developers actually need the design system to do their work. So yeah, UI kit, yes, for usually yeah, designer oriented. Style guide, designer oriented. Design system is for everyone, the developer and the designer and whoever. Yeah, I feel like I just said it. I just said it. Yeah, like yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. Oh yeah, Bethel. Yeah, yeah, music. Yeah, that question is new because you're the one that mentioned design school in your explanation. So, yeah, wow, wow. I don't know what I do though. That's okay. I did not. I did not. I did not. That's not what happened. That was not what happened though. That was not how it happened though. Hey, I was like, I literally just went to Google to check because. Oh, sorry, what do you mean by benchmark? Like, can you just like clarify your question? I feel like the person might be typing. I'm wondering if like she's asking if, oh, at what point do you stop updating your design system? But I'm not sure. Like, can you just clarify for how to answer? You don't actually ever stop. You don't. To be very honest, I was very smart.
Oh, hi, Rachel. Good evening. Yeah, sorry, it's Victory. Yeah, okay. So I know it's fine. Yeah, so I'm still at work, so that's why I kind of did not give response when you asked. Yeah, but I think you actually have answered the question. Yeah. So you mean like the continuous stuff? So as the product is evolving, you keep updating it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. 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 Thanks very much. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Everything's. No, no, not it's yeah.
Uh, yes. I used to hear of deliverables. Take this style guide is an example of one, right?
Yeah.
Hello. I said I used to hear of deliverables. This style guide, they are part of what you send to developers. What other things again like transfer to developers to work with? Like this style guide and typography. Apart from that, what other things? Yes, yes, yes.
The developer. Um, I would say, I mean, Bethel, you might have like something to add to this, but I would say just the style guide. Yeah, like just the style guide and the design, really. And the prototype, like, yeah, if it's something that you prototype, like the prototype to, so they can see the interactions that you have. And like, if you have a documentation as well, like, sure. But most style guide, design, prototype. Uh, he doesn't need it, a magician. He doesn't need it, he's a magician. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hi, sorry, my data. What do you say? Oh no, I no literally got cut off when you were still explaining, like answering the last question. My data went off, so I just got it back up. Oh, thank you.
Or traffic.
What do you mean? I better go. Hey, what are the key points employees look out on your CV? What did they look for? I don't even know because when I got my first job, I didn't have anything on my CV. I didn't go to university, so I didn't have like university whatever is put there. I didn't have like I'd never had a job or never interned anywhere, so I didn't have that to put there as well. I think what got me my first job, I don't know, is because my boss saw the potential in me, if that makes sense. And which is like the same thing with where I currently work. It's not necessarily about like what I've done or the experience that I've had, but like more like the potential that I have to grow. And yeah, so like I feel like that's something that we look out for. People tell you like, oh, just like sell yourself, right? Like, oh, with all the places that you worked at and all of that. But then I couldn't do that because I didn't have all of that to give. So I would just speak from my personal experience. It was just that they saw me and they saw that I had potential. I was able to English language, please. I was eager to I was I was eager to learn. And I was constantly like trying out new things. At least back then, before the job started draining me. But um, yes, I would say that what they would look out for, and I'm not sure what exactly shows them this. To be very honest, you just have to ask, like whether you get an acceptance mail or rejection mail. Just like try and actively ask why so that you know what you can improve on or what you can continue to do more on or more. Like I said, I don't know what exactly it is that lets them know that you have potential, but then I know that that is what they would look out for. Like this person would be good for us. Like this person would be a good fit for us, personality wise and like work wise. They would add value to the company. I don't know if this directly answers the question, but I mean, it's what happened to me, so it's all I can say. for having me. Thank you. You say, oh, hi, Gabriel. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming.